Welcome to the castle, everybody. This is Nightsaber Z42, and this is Character Vault, a series where I go through the entire character creation process in various RPG systems from start to finish, and this is actually part 2 of Star Trek Adventures, the second edition. In the first part, we created our Denobulan character, Plox, but he needs a starship to pilot, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to create a starship from start to finish. And to do that, we need to go all the way to page 192. This is where starship creation actually begins. There's a lot of information beforehand in chapter 5, which you'll want to read before you actually start, but we'll be referencing page like 185 here and there. So what exactly is involved with the character creation process for starships? Well, it's much shorter this time. It's actually really easy. This is not really that complex as opposed to character creation where you have to keep some stuff in mind and you have limits on some of your numbers and whatnot. Now, it's actually really streamlined here. The first step is to choose what time frame our ship is going to take part in. And this is important for a number of reasons, but most importantly, some starships are not available in earlier periods of time. For example, you're not going to have a Constitution 2 class starship in like Strange New Worlds time frame. It's just not going to happen. That starship comes later. You will have Constitution 1, and that's around the time of the OG series. And that's actually where we're going to choose. We're actually going to be choosing a starship that's in the original series timeline. Then we're going to choose a space frame, which is the most important part of this whole entire process. The space frame will determine its size, its trait, systems, departments, weapons, any talents that we get, and some of them even have special rules. Then we'll choose a mission profile, which will change some of our systems and departments, but also gives us access to more talents. And then we're going to choose our service record. Now, you may choose a single service record reflecting the ship's service record, or if the ship is brand new, possibly a lack of history, and this is completely optional. You do not have to choose a service record, but if you do get some benefits from it. Last but not least, we'll determine if we need any refits. Now, the thing about refits is for every decade that your ship has been in service, you get one refit. As I've already stated, we're going to be playing in the original television series. So I believe that's like 2260 something, 2265, yeah, somewhere around there. So after that, a little bit after that, but before 2269. So in that certain time frame, because the space frame that I want to choose is the Constitution class. We have some traits that go with this class of starship, which are Federation Starship, Constitution class, and Member World Starship. Our scale is 4. Our systems start off as 7 for comms, 7 for computers, 8 for engines, 8 for sensors, 7 for structure, and 7 for weapons. For departments, we get +1 in command, +1 in security, and +1 in science. And for weapons, we have phaser banks, photon torpedoes, and tractor beam with a strength of 3. For talents, we have modular laboratories. The opportunity cost of establishing a science lab is reduced to 0 for the first laboratory established and to 1 for the second. We also have access to Rega design, which says whenever a task roll is attempted to patch or repair a breach, a d20 may be re-rolled. Further, if the task is successful, the crew may spend momentum to patch a second breach. This will cost 2 momentum +1 per additional step of potency on that second breach. For our special rule, we have the saucer separation, which just basically means this big dome that's at the front of our ship can separate from the body of the ship. Next, we get to choose a mission profile. This kind of changes the nature of your starship, like basically what has it been designed for. So we have things like the battle cruiser, crisis and emergency response, espionage and intelligence, flagship, multi-role explorer, pathfinder and reconnaissance operations, patrol, scientific and survey operations, strategic and diplomatic operations, and tactical operations. I've chosen Pathfinder and reconnaissance operations just because I like the idea that we're going to be exploring like long range, like way out in the middle of nowhere. and it's just us and our friends along the way. With this mission profile, we have an increase to our engines by 1, so that turns our engines into, I believe, a 9. For our departments, we have a 2 in command, a 3 in con, a 2 in engineering, a 2 in security, a 1 in medicine, and a 2 in science. But remember, our space frame actually changed some of those already. And for our talents, we get one of the following: improved reaction control system, improved warp drive, rugged design, and high resolution sensors. I've actually chosen the improved reaction control system. I actually really like that for our Starship, and it says whenever the ship attempts to move through difficult terrain, reduce the momentum cost of the difficult terrain by 1 to a minimum of 0. So really goes well with Plox, who is our flight navigator. So I would imagine that he would be picked for this specific ship because it's got some really cool designs in the engines and the flight patterns and stuff like that. We can opt to choose a service record for our ship, and that would include things like Aging Relic, Dependable Workhorse, Legendary, Hope Ship, Prototype, and Survivor of X. And each of these come with its own benefits. For example, the Aging Relic says that it has a larger crew. The ship's crew support is increased by 1. Now, I've opted to go ahead and say that our ship is brand spanking new, so we don't really get a service record here. That also means our refit is going to be at 0. But the way it works is that starships receive refits throughout the Spaceframe service life. Refits represent significant overhauls performed at star bases and space docks, taking from days to months of work. In some cases, ships that have served for decades may receive substantial overhauls, taking a year or more to complete. Whatever the nature of these upgrades, older vessels will have received many refits. A ship receives 1 refit for every 10 full years of space frame service. Each refit increases one of the ship's systems by 1. No system may be refit more than twice in the ship's lifetime. No system may be raised above 12 through refits. So for each refit your ship undergoes, roll on the refit selection table or work with your group to choose a system refit. And so the refits that we have available are communications, computers, engines, sensors, structure, and weapons. I really don't like the fact that they have a roll again or select for 19 through 20, but hey, that's just the way that the dice roll sometimes. So what exactly do these refits do? Well, they just add +1 to a single ship's system. That's pretty much it. Regardless to say, since our service record is new, we're not going to have any refits. But I thought I should actually explain. And that is actually it for creating a starship. It's nice and easy compared to the character creation for, your actual player characters. So let's take a look at the final character sheet. Here I have the USS Yosemite, and I know for a Constitution class ship, that's probably not what the name would be. They're more named for like naval ships and stuff like that from way back when. But I really like Yosemite, so I just said, you know what, my ship's name is going to be the USS Yosemite. I think there is a classification of Starship in the Federation that specifically uses California names. I think that might be a thing. I'm pretty sure there is. Anyways, our mission profile is the Pathfinder and Reconnaissance Operations. Our service record is new. For the traits, we have Federation Starship, Constitution class, and Member World Starship. For refits, we have 0. Our resistance is 3. So let's actually take a look at that because we're going to reference page 185. And this is something that I am going to be nitpicky about for this book. You have Starship creation way up in the 200s, but then you're making references to actual stats even before that. So here's what I mean. Our resistance is 3. Well, how do we figure out our resistance? A ship's resistance is equal to half its scale rounded up, plus a bonus based on the ship's structure rating. Let's see, our scale is 4, so divide that in half, we get 2. Plus the bonus that we get from our ship structure, which is 7, is +1, so our resistance is 3. What about our crew support? Well, that's a little bit different. The total amount of crew support available is determined by the ship. Each vessel has a finite amount of crew on hand, most of whom will be busy on routine duties to keep the ship running. A ship's standard allotment of crew support per mission is equal to the ship's scale, but may be modified by other factors such as talents. So our crew support is going to be 4, equal to our ship scale. What about small craft readiness? Oh, that was another thing. The total number of small craft that may be active in a scene is represented by the ship's small craft readiness rating, which is equal to the ship's scale minus 1. So 4 minus 1, which is 3. So our small craft readiness is 3. So this is like all on page 185 and 186. Kind of wish it was actually in the description of the process a little bit more, but hey, at least it is close. I mean, it's like within 10 pages, so who am I to really complain? Anyways, our shields are at 14, and that's another one that we have to look up. A ship has shields equal to its structure, plus its scale and security. Okay, so our structure is 7, our scale is 4, so that's 11, and security is 3, so that makes 14. For our special rules, we have the saucer separation, which allows the big dome at the front to separate from the body. For attacks, we have phaser banks, photon torpedoes, and tractor beam with a strength of 3. I didn't really bother writing that stuff there. When it becomes applicable, I'll go ahead and look that up. But there is a nice section after the Starship creation that has Starship weapons, and that's where you would look. For our talents, we have modular laboratories, rugged design, and the improved reaction control system. And that's everything right there. Except for the registry and the date entered service, because I really don't care. I'm really horrible about the registry numbers because I get really into it and I'm like, wait, is there this registry number available like officially? Yeah, I'm like that person that actually had to look up and see if there was already a USS Yosemite ship in Star Trek universe, because if there was, I wasn't going to use it. But there we go. Starship character creation in a nutshell right there. Much easier than the character creation. Kind of wish character creation in Star Trek Adventures was a little bit more streamlined, but as long as you're aware of the things that you need to keep track of, it's manageable. So that's actually going to do it for this video. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Give this video a huge thumbs up to support the series, and I will see you guys in the next video.